For the sake of my son, put down your sword.
It is one of the most memorable and deeply heartbreaking moments in the entire world of Sekiro. The haunting story behind why the armored warrior screams, "Robert!" as you violently kick him off the bridge is incredibly tragic. And yet, it is completely hidden away, buried deep within the game's item descriptions and silent environmental storytelling. When you first encounter this giant, he stands out as a complete anomaly. The armored warrior isn't actually from Ashina. He is a knight who traveled from thousands of miles away in Europe, likely Portugal or Spain, given his authentic steel plate armor and his massive, two-handed greatsword. He crossed uncharted oceans and journeyed to the isolated lands of Japan for one single, desperate reason: to save the life of his dying son, Robert. Little Robert was suffering from a horrific, fatal Western illness that no doctor in Europe could cure. The father brought him to the misty, isolated peaks of Mount Kongo because he heard a rumor across the seas. A rumor that the monks of Senpou temple possessed the undying power of the rejuvenating waters, a miraculous force that could grant eternal life and cure his son's affliction. But when the weary father arrived, he did not find holy men. The sinister monks of Senpou temple had long since fallen into madness, and they made a cruel, manipulative deal with the foreign knight. They saw a supreme weapon in this giant, and they told him, "Defend this mountain bridge from all intruders and repel 1,000 blades. If you succeed, we will grant your son the rejuvenating waters and save his life." Driven by pure, unconditional fatherly love, the knight accepted the bargain. He put on his heavy armor, took up his immense great sword, and guarded that narrow bridge faithfully for weeks and months, slaughtering every wandering samurai, every desperate pilgrim, and every lost traveler who tried to cross. To the father, each person he killed was not an enemy, but simply a tally mark, one step closer to buying his son's survival. When you face him, Wolf is just another intruder trying to get past him, another blade he must repel to reach his goal. During the battle, his voice echoes with pure desperation as he begs you, "For the sake of my son, put down your sword." He isn't fighting for glory or for Ashina. He is just a father fighting a bloody war for his child's life. But the ultimate, stomach-turning tragedy is that the father was completely tricked. The corrupt monks had absolutely no intention of saving the boy. Instead, they had already taken little Robert and used him for their horrific, sacrilegious human experiments in their mad attempt to create a false divine child. If you look closely at the item description for Robert's firecrackers, the item you purchase from the Crow Memorial mob, it confirms their painful journey. It mentions that Robert and his father sold these native black powder fireworks, piece by piece, just to afford the massive expenses of traveling across the world. But the environment tells an even darker story. Throughout the temple grounds, you can find countless tiny doll statues, decorated with red bibs and white pinwheels, traditional Japanese mourning symbols for children who have passed away. Furthermore, the chapter of the infestation and the chilling lore surrounding the Senpou children implies that little Robert did not survive the monks' experiments. Long before Wolf ever stepped foot onto that mountain, long before you ever crossed swords with the Iron Knight, little Robert was already dead. His body was discarded, piled into the mass graves beneath the temple, while his father stood outside, blindly shedding blood to protect his murderers. This brings us back to the final, tragic climax on the bridge. When you finally break his posture and execute the death blow that kicks him over the edge, his final cry isn't out of anger or fear of his own death. He screams his son's name. Because in those fleeting seconds of gravity, he realizes he has failed. By falling, he can no longer protect the bridge, meaning he can never complete his deal with the monks, and he will never be able to save his son. He plunges into the endless clouds, dying in absolute despair, completely unaware that his beloved Robert was already gone. If you loved this lore deep dive, hit that like button, share it, and subscribe for more Sekiro secrets.